I thought I would just do a quick video, actually might not be so quick, a video on my favourite things of 2020. I know that's a tall order, really, it's a tall order, isn't it? Favourite things of 2020, and what a year. But I'm going to try and find 20 things that were my favourites for the year. And I'm going to start off with a foundation. So makeup first, right. My favourite foundation I have discovered, and I probably will not move from this now, having discovered it, is Boots number 7. There's not many colours in this range. It's the Hydroluminous foundation, moisturising foundation, but it just goes on so smoothly and doesn't sit in my lines and creases and things. Now they do have a very limited colour range, so what I found actually perfect for me in the winter is warm ivory, but I'd also have calico and I have warm beige, and my thinking was that calico I know is too light for me. Warm beige will probably be a good colour for me in the summer, but in the meantime I can actually mix calico and warm beige and it comes out quite similar to a warm ivory. So but these are just so cheap, and often Boots have a 2-for-1, so I'd actually ordered myself the warm ivory and the warm beige to see which colour was going to work with me, but I ordered the calico at the same time because that was free, knowing that if the warm beige was going to be too warm or too dark, I could actually mix it with the calico and get a lighter colour. So they're about what, 17, 18 pounds, something like that in that region. And then so it actually works out at about 3 for 34, because sometimes there's these 2 for 3 for 2 offers. So this little gem, this little foundation gem, was a favourite I discovered in 2020. Sticking with makeup, or what we put on our face after moisturisers and things, e.l.f. Poreless Primer. Absolutely adore this primer. It's made such a difference to my foundations going on, and it's also so cheap. You know, it's drugstore pricing, it's in the high street if once we're allowed out again, or order online, but a nice cheap, and nothing wrong with it. It's great. It's a great primer. It's the best primer I have ever tried. So I really love this, and this and this are both repeat buys for me. So 2 favourites, another 18 to go. So moving on, Trinny. I discovered her products this year. This is the Blur, and it's great. You put it on underneath the foundation and you put it on where you've got your creases or your pores, and it just blurs it, and it does a bit more than a primer does, but it has and you build it up, you know, you can build it up. So it's just a sort of creamy gel inside there. So that's Trinny's Blur. Now it's not cheap. But this pot will last me a long time, and sometimes I just feel like I just want that little bit extra. Maybe the light's not right, or the if I'm doing a video, for instance, you know, things just might not be right with the lighting and the shadows it's picking up, and I just kind of feel that sometimes that just adds a little bit of camouflage that helps. Then what else did I discover? My favourite bronzer of the year, Anastasia. And this is a powder bronzer in Rosewood is the colour. And in the summer, I used that bronzer just so much. Absolutely love this Anastasia. Coming towards the end of the year, I discovered not Wayne Goss's channel, I've watched that for a long time, but actually bought some of his eyeshadows. Again, this is not cheap, especially as, for some reason, although Wayne Goss is English, I think, this gets shipped from LA, so it's expensive. This is a considered purchase, this palette, but it's absolutely gorgeous. I love the fact it's buildable, and what he says is that it's shimmers for mature skin. I think that's sort of how he's promoting it, that actually there's no reason why we can't use shimmers on our lids and our eyes. So these are really lovely shimmers, and I think that's going to last me quite a while. Tell you, better do it at the price. I better do it at the price. I'm scared to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not telling you the price. Right then, so let's move on to a few other things. I've got a list here. I have to tell you, this is really going to be a tall order, actually, carrying on. So, yes, On to the non-makeup-y stuff. One of the things I've really enjoyed, and this might sound odd from somebody who actually, most of the channel's about clothes, I've enjoyed lack of fashion. I've enjoyed the fact that I'm not on the train worrying about or thinking about, oh, everybody around me is wearing these boots, this coat, this jacket, this colour, this style, this shape, this length. Because it doesn't matter. We wear what we're comfortable in. We don't need to have the latest thing. We just buy what we know is going to suit our wardrobe for the next 5-10 years and not worry about the next 6 months. It doesn't matter. So lack of fashion. I'm not saying lack of clothes. That would be a totally different type of video. And I'm not making those sort of videos. No, I'm talking about lack of fashion. I struggled with what is the fashion in jeans now? Because skinnies are still around, and then you've got flares trying to come back, and you've got the boyfriends, and you've got the girlfriends, and you've got the straights. And in a way, it's so nice that we can wear all of them and not worry or think about or have other people be concerned that other people might think that we're dated, because it doesn't matter. Not even, I mean, okay, it doesn't matter in our homes, but it doesn't matter when we're out either, because really fashion is the last thing we're really thinking about at the moment. As long as we're dressed and we're actually looking nice, it doesn't really matter what is on trend as such, because there's no trend. There isn't a trend, and it doesn't matter. And I think that is just so refreshing. I've really enjoyed lack of fashion. I've enjoyed being at home. I've enjoyed not commuting on the train. I always thought that if I had more time, I've always said, if I had more time, if I wasn't commuting 3 hours a day, I would get so much done. I'm now not commuting 3 hours a day, and am I getting so much more done? No. How I'm spending the time is I get out of bed a little bit later, I have a cup of tea in bed, then have a shower, get dressed, and then start work. So I start work a bit earlier. So I often go out for a walk as well. I go out for a walk too, but I start work earlier, and then I finish work and have supper. So we're having supper earlier. Then we're watching the news, then we go into watching television, and then the evening just feels so long that by the time it's got to 9 o'clock, we're thinking, actually, it's bedtime, really. So I'm kind of, my days shifted. And no, I'm not getting more done. And maybe that is what I needed. Maybe I needed a year at home, not getting more done and resting more. Not saying it's been relaxing, because it hasn't, because thinking about what's going on outside, worrying about that is a strain, it's a mental strain. But I have enjoyed the slower pace of life. Another thing I have enjoyed is discovering local walks around here that I didn't know existed. You know, going out for walks at lunchtime, or going out for walks after we finished work in the summer. We'd go out for walks in the evening in the summer. And we didn't have that before, because we couldn't, you know, we were commuting, got home late, had supper, you know. But now we have got the time. So that is one of the things we did do, yeah, go for walks in the summer. And discovered new walks around us that we didn't know existed. So that's been lovely, going and discovering new walks. I also enjoyed that period where we had lockdown 1, what we call now lockdown 1, where we were all at home. And so 3 of us were working from home. And we just got into our zone. I was in a zone with my colleagues on Zoom, on Microsoft Teams in my work zone. John was in his work zone. Annabelle was in her work zone. So physically we were in different rooms, but we were submerged in our office environments via, you know, emails and meetings and so on, you know, online meetings and things. And then we'd come across each other in the kitchen. And that was a unique and treasured experience, I think, a unique and treasured experience. So yeah, I think the fact 3 of us were working from home in some ways was there's something to look back on. That's something to look back on as a memory. And talking from work from home, yes, I've enjoyed Microsoft Team meetings, those social meetings on Microsoft Teams. I've got to say, I mean, they keep me going, because that's in a way it's become a social life. So there's that as well. I've enjoyed using the backgrounds that Microsoft Teams threw out there in the second week of lockdown. Just threw out these backgrounds, and we all sort of logged on and found we had a selection of backgrounds to use, and you got something to talk about. But So yes, connecting with colleagues that way, seeing their homes, seeing their pets, seeing their children, seeing all of this pop up in the background has been special. Seeing us all not in our work clothes, seeing us all in casual. And I even interviewed people during the year and only one wore a suit. Everyone turned up for the interview over Microsoft Teams in casual gear. So I think that has been, that's something I've enjoyed. That would be one of my favourites as well, getting to know my colleagues, their homes, their families. You know, you would have a conversation. Is that a bottle of gin behind you? Oh, what sort of gin do you like? You know, and you go on into this sort of conversation. Or, oh, yes, oh, that's a Pomeranian. Oh, I've got a Chihuahua. And then, you know, then you have that conversation and your dogs are sort of yapping at each other. So there's that. On those similar lines, another favourite would be Zoom. That I have enjoyed having Zoom drinks, Zoom meals, Zoom chats, Zoom coffees with friends who live elsewhere in Britain or abroad that I would never have thought of connecting with them other than physically. So you would see them and then say, oh, I'll see you in a year's time, or I'll see you wherever, you know, in months and months' time. It never occurred to me to have an online drink with them or an online chat. We've connected with friends around Britain that we wouldn't have seen we would see once a year, or and in this world not see at all, obviously. So it's been fun to connect with friends on Zoom. And still on the topic of Zoom, but talking about TV programmes, I really enjoyed a programme called Staged with David Tennent in it. It's David Tennent and Michael Sheen, and they play themselves, and they are in their homes, so it's filmed in their homes with them doing their own filming, but it's filmed over Zoom. But you also have clips of them in their own homes as well, because it obviously filmed during lockdown, but it was about lockdown, and I absolutely loved it. If this had gone out a year ago, we would have thought it was odd and not been able to relate, but it was so relatable because we were experiencing the same thing. We were experiencing those Zoom calls where the doorbell would ring or the dog would bark or someone would come in the background, and you see this on there as they're filming, that this happens, and it kind of gives you a comfort that we're all going through the same experience and seeing the same things and doing the same things. And the fact that their partners, wives took part as well, and you see them in their houses and they're talking about cooking, and you might be doing a Zoom call and then suddenly, oh, I've got to cook supper. So David Tennant goes off and he's halfway, then he's saying to Michael Sheen, so what shall I cook? You know, and they have a conversation about the food rather than about what they were supposed to be talking about. And it was just so new normal. It was so new normal. I absolutely loved it, and there's a new series coming out, so I'm going to be grabbing that. So that is number 12. Number 13, hair. And I know I've had some videos where my hair's, I've had bad hair days, and I'm trying to make it work and so on as it's growing. But there was that stage during when the whole world was in lockdown at the same time, and we were in lockdown for so long, everybody's hair just became ridiculous. And then how you had work conversations on Teams, and you always started the meeting talking about hair, because people changed so much. Men, women, whether they're in Guatemala or whether they were in London or Japan, wherever they were, going through the same thing. We all could relate, and we could all talk about hair, and had no idea how important hair is to us, because it really was a conversation piece around the world. I found when I was talking to colleagues around the world, or business associates and so on, as well as friends, hair was that unifying factor. The fact it grew, it got wild, it lost its shape, and then you started talking about haircuts and who did you cut your hair? No, my wife cut my hair, blah, blah, blah. And people were saying this, the men were saying this, and then women were growing their hair, and then there was conversations about grey, because obviously, you know, some of us, me, I took the opportunity to say, right, well, I'm growing it out, and I'm growing out the colour as well, and I'm just going to adopt grey. And so that takes me on to another one, and I believe that's 14 or 15. Grey, going grey. during lockdown. Great opportunity to go grey, along with many other in the world. We're doing it together. So it'll become a fashion, it'll become a statement, it'll become a trend, because we've got lockdown grey and then we're going to have nice grey. So yeah, going grey, that's another one. And then some of my favourites were Hope. I'm going to say Captain Tom Moore. He was such an inspiration at that time for the NHS. He set out to raise £1,000. And his aim was to walk 100 steps towards his 100th birthday. Well, he got so much publicity. He was, I think he was a symbol for us all in Britain. A symbol. I mean, I donated. He ended up raising 32 million. So, yeah, Captain Tom. He was great. He is great. Thank you, Captain Tom. He's my favourite. He's one of my favourites. Has to be one of my favourites. Anyway, look him up if you're overseas and haven't heard of him. I'll just read you a little bit from Wikipedia. He was born in 1920, known as Captain Tom. He was in the British Army. Years of service. He was Second World War. Yeah, and then retire from the army, do what they're going to do, then retire, and you think that's it, that's done, you know. And then in your 99th, 100th year, you do that. You're a symbol for the nation, and you raise that money. And he's now, I think he's got another title now. He's not captain. He's been made an honorary colonel. He's honorary colonel now since having done that. But yeah, I think he's what we needed at that time. He became a symbol for us. We donated, as a nation, we donated to him for the NHS, and it was special. And then if I can hold myself together, because I'm going on to another one, similar. Paul Harvey. He was a man, he is a man who has dementia, and he used to be a music teacher. His son gave him 4 notes, and it was on BBC News. But he just gave his father 4 notes to play. No order, just 4 notes. And Paul Harvey, the father, his dementia, sort of like it kind of just, out of that came a musical piece. He just composed this, just like that, out of the 4 notes. And it was on the BBC. BBC Philharmonic recorded it. And it's a beautiful piece of music. So, if you are overseas and don't know about Paul Harvey, look up Paul Harvey 4 notes and hear the music. It's a beautiful piece of music, just created spontaneously by 4 notes given to him randomly, and just a lovely piece of music. And it's another one of those feel-goods about humanity and people and us. What's bringing us together is these moments. So yeah, if you're overseas and don't know of Paul Harvey and the 4 notes story, do look that up and listen to the music. That's one of my favourites as well. So where are we? Me, I'm an emotional wreck. I might need to have a glass of wine before I carry on. Because I think I've got 4 or 5 more to do. I think I need a glass of wine. That might be another one. Another one of my... but let me just recover, get myself together, and then get on with the rest of them. Okay, pull myself together a bit now. And I have got my glass of wine. Right, so moving on. My pergola. You can see it through here, just there, outside. It was built last year by Annabelle and her friend Davy, before all of this. Last year when world was normal, and the 2 of them built that pergola. And last winter we had it covered with temporary cover plastic sheeting. And then in the spring, Davy covered it over with hard proper UV plastic. Well, this has been such a boon for us. We had it built so as we could sit out there when it's raining and have some shelter. And also we've got those sails that I bought from Amazon. There are 3 sails, so we can actually hook those up, and we've actually got the sunshade in the summer. So, but when it was built, obviously we had no idea how we would be using it, and so obviously in the summer we used it as we expected to. The 2 of us, 3 of us living here at the time, 3 of us could sit out there and use it. Sit out there to have tea, have our supper after we finish work, sit outside under the pergola with the sails up, giving us the sunshade. But then this autumn and winter, you'll have seen on some of my videos how I'm using it to entertain outside, because we can't entertain inside. Well, we can't entertain at all now, we're in tier 4. But when we could, we only did it outside. So having that shelter meant that it was possible for us. We had a roof over our heads outside that enabled us then to have even if it was raining, have a decent seating area. So the pergola, that would be I think that's 6, takes me to 17, I think. Losing count here, I've got the cat's tail. Make him 18, shall I? This is Red Relaxer Cat. He's on Instagram. That's very knocking things on the floor, mister. He's on, you can't see him, can you? Might be able to see the tail in a minute. He's on Instagram anyway. Red Relaxer Cat, here he is. Red Relaxer Cat on Instagram. It's an account run by John. Anyway, and then the other thing would be entertaining outside when we can see friends or can see family. I have enjoyed wrapping up in blankets and sitting outside with the candles and the pizzas and the drink. And even though we can't hug, we can't kiss, and we can't be near each other, it's been lovely. And because it's so unusual, winter entertainment outside is not something we've done. And it has been an experience, and it's been a new experience. And we have had some, fun times when we could do that. So yeah, entertaining outside would be another one. I think another one has to be subscription boxes, because without going to the shops as we are, it has meant we haven't done without. I've absolutely really enjoyed my Degusta box of food that comes once a month. I've really enjoyed Stitch Fix. I've enjoyed Lucchiero. I've re-signed up for FabFitFun because I think there's some fun things in there, obviously. Fun things, nice things, it's cheap. And we need a bit of something, don't we? We need a bit of something. And the Degusta box is giving me, in the office I would have had, there'd been snacks, people bring snacks around. And, the 2 of us at home, we don't have that. We just don't. We go shopping, we don't get biscuits, we don't get chocolate, we don't do that. So the Degusta box is those little treats that we wouldn't have thought of buying. So I've really enjoyed the Degusta box, so we'll be keeping that going. And I enjoy the Boxer Style box, I enjoy the FabFitFun box, I enjoy Stitch Fix and Lucchiero. It's nice to have a few fashion items or clothes that arrive that I think I will get a lot of use out in the future. And send back if they aren't going to be useful to me, send them back. I only pay for what I keep. But I actually really do enjoy that because I'm not going to the shops. I don't want to go to a clothes shop. But at the same time, some of my clothes have got so old that I really do need to replace them. So, having a subscription box. I've cut it down so it's not monthly. I was doing Lucchiero and Stitch Fix alternate months. Now I'm doing... I'm only getting a box every 2 months and alternating it. So I get Stitch Fix now every 4 months and Lucchiero every 4 months. And that means I get a box every 2 months instead of a box a month. Getting to know the neighbours. We're in a cul-de-sac of 6, 7 houses. And, we knew our neighbours just to say, a wave, Occasionally you would have a front lawn chat in the summer, occasionally with one of them. But the clap on the doorstep every Thursday night. And then you'd come out of your house, have the clap on the doorstep, shout at each other across the cul-de-sac, then go back in your hutch for another week. But then in the summer we had the VE Day celebrations and so on, and we all got to know each other. We had a little street party. We all sat on our own lawns with tables, in the front garden and got to know each, you know, we were shouting across the cul-de-sac and so on. And that was fun. That was fun, yeah. Yes, so I would say yes, getting to know the neighbours and the few fun things we've done. Even for Christmas Eve, we were all out there ringing bells. So there's a bit of camaraderie over in the neighbourhood now. And we've got a WhatsApp group as well now, which we hadn't got before. And, you know, we send each other messages and we chat via WhatsApp. And it's nice when you have 6 hours and you have a conversation like that. And unrelated to the year specifically, I would say another, it's got to be you guys. You guys, it's given me real value and worth to actually know that you're watching my videos, more of you are watching my videos, that I'm doing something that you are liking and enjoying. So I really thank you. I really thank you for engaging. I thank you for commenting. I thank you for telling me when I'm doing something wrong. Thank you for telling me when I'm doing something right. Thank you for advice. And I just love your comments. And I wish you'd comment to each other as well. Do comment to each other. Make friends. You know, it's a difficult year. It's going to be a difficult next year as well. Make friends. Make friends with each other, my subscribers. And be there for me and for you for next year as well. You guys. You. Yeah, you're one of my favourites, for sure. Because I do enjoy doing YouTube. I enjoy the editing. I enjoy the recording. I enjoy the satisfaction of putting a piece of artistic material together, because it's so different from my work. And if I can do that and give you something at the same time, that's great. So thank you very much for being there for me and watching my videos. And so, yes, I've had a few weepy moments doing this. I have got my glass of wine with some of those gel cubes inside. And I'm going to edit this and put it together and get it out there for you. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in another video.